In today's video, we're going to review 7 hands from my latest poker tournament using a software training tool called PokerSnowie to see where I made good EV plays and where I made bad negative EV plays and what I can do to improve my overall game. Hopefully you learned something too. Okay, let's get started. Good morning and welcome to another poker hand review from a tournament I did about a week ago now. Once this gets uploaded, probably about a week ago that I played this tournament. I titled it Card Dead and Busted because I really didn't get a lot of good hands. And I know that's an excuse some people use, but really in this one here, I didn't get very many premium hands, so it was hard to make any moves in the tournament. You can see in the summary screen there, I imported my hands. There were 152 hands in my session, and according to PokerSnowie, I played at an extraterrestrial level. I only made 3 blunders, 3 big mistakes, and I only gave up 300 in chips with my EV blunders. I think we started with 5,000 chips, so to only lose 300 chips in value is pretty darn good. And even though I played, near perfect, I still busted out of the tournament. I didn't make the money. I think I was still maybe about 20 minutes away from making the money. So I still played really good. But nevertheless, we're going to go over 7 hands that I picked out from this tournament to see where I did make mistakes and where I made good choices. And we need to repeat those good choices. So let's get to the first hand. That's a good start to the morning. It's a pretty sizable bet too. Okay. So unless he's got kings or aces unbeat, he's got a lower pair. He might call with something small. Beautiful. Oh, he had a... Did he have 2 pair? Yeah, okay, so he did have a smaller pair. He had 2 pair. So what a pretty good pot. First pot of the morning. Okay, so this is a very interesting hand. I got dealt ace-queen offsuit in the small blind, and we had someone go all in. So I'm curious to see how PokerSnowie analyzes my actions in this hand. So I'm in the small blind. Under the gun +1 raises to 150. The blinds are 30-60, so 2.5 times big blind. Even PokerSnowie says, hey, good job. Next person goes all in. Now, PokerSnowie says he should have folded, but I mean, their chip stack's only 224, so what else are you going to do? So they went all in. I called. It was only 194 more chips. So I figure I was doing okay with ace-queen. But PokerSnowie is saying I should have folded. Interesting. Anyways, I made the call. So did Vanguard85. Flop comes great for me. Top pair, top kicker with a backdoor flush draw. I check to Vanguard85, which is the correct move. 9% of the time I should make a quarter size pot bet, but I check. Vanguard85 bets, which is the wrong move because there's an overcard on there. I call, which is the wrong move. Interesting. It's saying I should have re-raised a third of the pot. Interesting. Okay. Turn card comes 5 of clubs. I check, which is the right move. Vanguard checks, that's the correct move for them. 9 of clubs on the river. I'm not too worried. I got no overcards. I got top pair, top kicker. I bet just under quarter pot. I did bet small because I really wanted Vanguard to call. So I guess I could have bet a little bit more. He did call, which PokerSnowie is saying wrong move. Should have raised. That wouldn't have scared me off though. If he would have raised with what? I would have still called. And showdown, I win the pot from Vanguard, but this person nails 2 pair on the river. Okay. So I still win a sizable pot, but I lose about a third of the pot from the 2 pair. Interesting. Alright, so that was my first hand. Well, hand 16, but the first hand I really played of that tournament, and it says I made a lot of mistakes. So I shouldn't have called. I did. And then I should have raised with top pair, top kicker on the flop. So a check raise. Okay, so that's a good spot for a check raise. Good to know. Okay, next hand. Hello, ladies. Oh, I thought they were suited. Oops. Need more coffee. Oh, look at this. He raises pretty tight. 10% of the time. Okay, let's see a flop. He might have kings races. Actually, I think he's got kings. Okay, buddy, you can have it. Okay, so this hand I get dealt ace queen offsuit again. In my last tournament, I did a hand review where I reviewed 3 ace king offsuits in a row. So I get dealt ace queen offsuit quite a bit, and there's still another ace queen offsuit still to come in this video. Interesting. Anyways, I get dealt ace queen offsuit in the big blind. Under the gun raises to 240, so 3 big blinds. P power calls. We get a call from Mika. So the premium hand, I raised to 720, so I'm trying to get rid of some players in the pot. But PokerSnowie is saying your hand is too weak to bluff squeeze, which was what I was doing. Trying to squeeze some people out of the pot. In case you get called, your hand doesn't have enough potential, so you should have folded. And if I am going to bet, I'm going to bet pot. I raised to 720, which is 3 times their bet. Yeah, I should have bet more. I only bet half pot. All right. Now, interesting here that they say that in case you get called or raised, your hand doesn't have enough potential, so you should have folded. And I did get re-raised. And I didn't know what to do. And I called. And that was a wrong move. Your hand is too weak to call. Even ace-king offsuit is not good enough. Instead, a borderline decision between folding and bluff raising. Yeah, so 93% of the time you fold. Only 7% of the time do you try to bluff raise. And this was not the spot to do it. His PFR, his pre-flop raising, was sitting at 10%. So he doesn't raise very often. And I think his 3-bet percentage was like 0 or 1. So it was the first time he actually 3-bet. So I knew he had good cards. I guess I was kind of hoping to hit ace on the board, but 5 jack jack shows up. I completely whiff. No straight, no nothing. I check, which is the correct move. He bets, I fold, which... Oh, interesting. Look at this. Folding and raising have both the same EV, but here it's saying I should raise 78% of the time. So I guess if I put them on like 10s or less, even with kings or aces, if I re-raise here, try to show strength that I've got maybe 3 jacks, I might have pushed them. Well, kings or aces he would have still called. I don't know. But interesting. PokerSnowie is saying re-raise, not by much. Granted, a quarter pot's quite a bit. But okay, interesting. All right, next hand. Okay, big slick suited. Ace king. Okay, we got to make some money here. We're running low on blinds. 36 isn't too bad, but let's see if we can get in here with some money. There we go. We got one customer. That's a really good flop. With 2 customers, well, now we're down to 1. Trying to guess what he or she has. I don't think they have anything. Try small raise. Now I got a full house. Okay, I'm going to try another small raise just to keep them in. Now we go for the gauntlet. Not too big. I still want them to call. Even better yet, a re-raise would be awesome. Damn! They were chasing something, but good pot. Okay, so this was a good hand for me. I got dealt ace king suited in the dealer button. The reason I wanted to review this hand was, did I get maximum value with this great hand? It's one thing to win pots, but I want to learn how to win the most out of each pot. So I'm curious if I got the most out of this, because he did fold on the flop, and I wonder if I bet too big or if I made a mistake somewhere. So, what have we got here? Small blind, big blind, 125, 250. Adrena calls the big blind. We get another call. I raise with a premium hand. Here it's saying I should have raised full pot. I only raised about 0.4 of a pot. So, bigger raise to begin with. Get a couple folds, and then Ardena and Mika both call. Flop is a dream. 2 pair. And then I get bet into. Small bet though. Yeah, Ardena makes a small bet. 250 into a 3,500 pot. So obviously I re-raise, which is the right move. And I re-raised quarter pot, which is the correct bet size. So that's good. I got a call, which is awesome. And then the turn, I mean, the only better card would have been another ace, but still, full house. Unless Ardrena's got pocket aces, I have the best hand. They check to me. I bet about quarter pot, 0.22, 0.25. So that's good. They called. I really wonder what they had. Complete brick on the flop. Adrena checks. Obviously, they were chasing a draw somewhere. Maybe queen jack, queen 10, jack 10. I think they were chasing a straight draw because there's no... Maybe flush draw to spades. I don't know. So I bet 2750, right, into a 8,000 pot. Oh, look at this. saying I should have gone all in. Well, they weren't calling anyways. With a busted draw. No. Okay, well, I think I got near maximum value out of that. Maybe a little bit bigger raise on the flop to get a little more, but I think I did okay there. At 8,000 chips, nearly... Yeah, I more than doubled my stack. From 5,000 to... What did I start with? Oh, from 9,000 to 13. Yeah, so... Yeah, good size pot. Okay, next hand. Play, you play with 2 cards. Or call with 3 bad ones. Okay, some hearts would be really nice. Oh, swing and a miss. Flop's already big enough. I don't want it any bigger. So, let's check and hope for a heart. Please. Okay. Not the card we were hoping for. That fold here. Yeah, not something that jacks. Oh, so much potential. Okay, so this next hand I get dealt ace-king suited again in the button. So exactly like the last hand, except I didn't get the cards that I wanted. So I want to see if that continuation floating was the right move. So what's happening here? We have 2 big blind calls. I raised to 1,200, as I should. Again, it's saying I should raise pot. Okay, that's what I said on the last hand too with ace-king suited. So I need to raise more pre-flop. Yeah, that's my premium hands. Okay, so lost a bit of value there. How much did I lose? I bet half pot. So yeah, so you can see the EVs, 2.69, 3.21. So I gave up quite a bit of EV there by incorrect bet sizing. Okay, and we get a bunch of callers. Flop comes 5-jack-2, again, backdoor flush draw, but I think you have a less than a 4% chance of hitting your flush when only one suit comes up on the board. But everybody checks around, which 25% of the time I should check. 75% I should actually make a quarter-size pot bet. So I was the pre-flop aggressor. Maybe I should have continuation betted and tried to get someone out of the pot. Turn comes Jack of Hearts. I sort of like that card because it gives me the flush, but now we've got a full house. There's trips on the table. Or set, I guess. No, trips. So they put in a pretty big size bet here. Half pot. I call, which is the right move. Interesting. So with the nut flush draw on the table, calling is still the most profitable EV. Okay, so I did do the right move. 5 of diamond comes, if he's got a 5 or a jack. He's got a full house, so they make a sizable bet. I fold, which I'm supposed to do. It actually says I should call 46% of the time. Well, that's a pretty difficult board to call on, especially with that size of a bet. Interesting. Okay, next hand. Okay, ace king suited again. Okay, time to get these limpers out of the pot. You want to play? You got to play with good cards, or call with really bad ones. Okay, some hearts would be really nice. Oh, swing and a miss. Okay, the pot's already big enough. I don't want it any bigger. So let's check and hope for a heart, ace, or king. Okay. That's a good size bet. They may have a jack. Okay. Cross our fingers for a heart. Not the card we were hoping for. It's a bet fold here. Yeah, that's a big bet too. You got jacks. Oh, so much potential. So much potential. Okay, so this next hand, I get dealt ace king suited again in the button. So exactly like the last hand, except I didn't get the cards that I wanted. So I want to see if that continuation floating was the right move. So what's happening here? We have two big blind calls. I raised to 1200, as I should. Again, it's saying I should raise pot. Okay, that's what I said on the last hand too with ace king suited. So I need to raise more pre-flop. Yeah, that's my premium hands. Okay, so lost a bit of value there. How much did I lose? I bet half pot. So yeah, so you can see the EVs, 2.69, 3.21. So I gave up quite a bit of EV there by incorrect bet sizing. Okay, and we get a bunch of callers. Flop comes 5 jack 2. Again, backdoor flush draw, but I think you have a less than a 4% chance of hitting your flush when only one suit comes up on the board. But everybody checks around, which 25% of the time I should check. 75% I should actually make a quarter size pot bet. So I was the pre-flop aggressor. Maybe I should have continuation betted and tried to get someone out of the pot. Turn comes jack of hearts. I sort of like that card because it gives me the flush, but now we've got a full house. There's trips on the table. Or set, I guess. No, trips. So they put in a pretty big size bet here. Half pot. I call, which is the right move. Interesting. So with the nut flush draw on the table, calling is still the most profitable EV. Okay, so I did do the right move. Now, 5 of diamond comes, if he's got a 5 or a jack, he's got a full house. So they make a sizable bet. I fold, which I'm supposed to do. It actually says I should call 46% of the time. Well, that's a pretty difficult board to call on, especially with that size of a bet. Interesting. Okay, next hand. Okay, I'm going to limp in with pocket fives, or sorry, not limp in, call the raise. See a cheap flop, and hopefully hit a set. Nope. Looks like everybody else missed too. Nobody's got a queen. Okay. Free cards are always nice. I got a gut shot straight. 6 wouldn't be that bad. And I still might have the best hand. I think I'm going to call this one. You might have some like ace high or something, so I'm going to see. Yeah, he had ace high. It's a good starting hand, but you just didn't hit anything. And then you checked on the flop, so you didn't have the queen. You checked. Thought maybe you could have had a 3, but you would have bet bigger, I think, if you had a 3. Good. Another pot. Okay, this next hand was quite interesting. I had a read on this Brunel. This player was extremely aggressive post-flop. They're pretty tight pre-flop, but post-flop they were always the aggressor. And I caught them in a few bluffs versus other people. So I'm curious with the GTO strategy, how that correlates with an exploitive strategy, which I was trying to employ here. Obviously, pocket fives when you get a bunch of overcards is no good, but let's see how this gets analyzed. So we've got Brunel who raised, as they should with ace king suited. Our Drena calls everything. I called with pocket fives. That's the good move. I wasn't sure if I should fold, to an under the gun raise, but I made the call, hoping to hit a set. Flop comes 3, queen, 4, so I did not hit a set. Everybody checks. So is Brunel supposed to check in this situation? Yeah, 2 overcards, and then I check. I could have bet. It's actually saying over 60% of the time you should make a bet here. I just wonder if they would have given up the ace king if I would have made a quarter-size bet. Oh, turn card comes a 7, so now I've got 2 overcards to my pair. Brunel checks. I check, both with correct moves. 3 clubs comes on the river. I'm not scared of that card because I know they're playing premium hands. They're not playing ace 3 or king 3 or anything like that. Looks like we're very tight pre-flop and aggressive post-flop. Although they checked the flop and the turn, so not as aggressive. Yeah, which led me to believe that they were weak, because usually they are quite aggressive after the flop. So with him checking the whole time, I figured he was weak. So he makes a bluff bet, and I make the right read. I call, knowing that he checked on both the flop and the turn, showing weakness. And so I made the hero call, and PokerSnowie saying, hey, you made the right call, and I won. So that was more of a read than, I guess a GTO strategy with 2 overcards. I just had a feeling that the person was weak. They're usually pretty aggressive post-flop, but when they were checking, they were showing weakness, and I was right. So, interesting. Okay, next hand. Ace, queen, offsuit. And all in. When they played 8 hands against him, I was going to say pretty tight player, but... Oh. Ace king maybe, but with 2 all-ins. I said we have some like pocket queens, ace king. He might have like maybe sevens, queens or ace king. Oh my god, they had nothing. Still beat me though. Wow, those were loose all-ins. Ace 8 I had dominated. was going to call him. But when Mika came in, yeah, I would have lost. Okay, so this hand, I was in a really tough position. I didn't really know what to do at the table. I got dealt ace-queen offsuit in the big blind. Cal won Tomi. Kalatomi? I don't know. They went all in, and I was prepared to call. They're all in. I didn't expect Mika to go all in as well, and that's what threw me off. So I'm going to follow through with PokerSnowie here and see if the fold was correct. Already folds. So they go all in. Bet size is quite far from optimal. Well, where are the blinds? 255 out. And they had 10 big blinds left. I probably would have shoved. Yeah. So I was thinking you should only gone half pot, but you know, you're almost committed at this point, so you might as well throw it all in there. And the Mika calls, which is wrong. You were holding a good hand with which you should have called. Raising instead turns this hand into a bluff, and you have to hope that your opponent folds. Well, they're already all in. So, see, PokerSnowie, it's really good at the cash games, but in tournaments, it doesn't really understand all-ins and short stacks all that well just yet. So sometimes you have to take the advice with a grain of salt. Big question, I fold, which is the correct move. Going all in would have been a negative 0.44 EV. Probably because Mika went all in ahead of me, but I think it would have been a profitable call if I just had one person go all in. Interesting. Okay, so I made the right call. I would have lost. I would have busted out. Yeah, because Mika hit the king. I had ace queen. I didn't. Yep. I would have got busted out of the tournament there. So good fold on my part. Okay, next hand. I don't normally play queen jack offsuit, but I feel lucky. Obviously, an ace beats me. I'll throw a small bet in there, see what happens. Okay, so Doggy Wolf Wolf is chasing a draw. Either two spades or like king 10, hoping for a jack and a straight. You want to go after a draw, you're going to have to pay. That's not a good card. So that either completes their flush or completes their straight. Yeah, here comes a big bet. Yep. Putting me all in. They know I can't call. Yeah, I think they hit their flush draw. Nope. You can have it, buddy. Good hand. Okay, so for the final hand review for this tournament, I remember this hand quite vividly. Queen Jack offsuit. I put the villain on a draw, which I think was correct, and then they hit their draw come the river. So I'm just curious if I made the right bet sizing. Maybe I should have made it more expensive for them to draw, maybe knock them out before they hit their draw. There was an ace on the board, which I was pretty sure they didn't have. Let's see what PokerSnowie says. So, Middle position raise. First mistake, I called, which I shouldn't have. And I think that's right. You know, with Queen Jack, even King Queen offsuit, you want to be the open raiser, not call someone else's raise. But I called. Doggy Woof calls as well. And then Bernal calls. So we're 4 to the flop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. All right. I'm okay with the board. I figured someone hit an ace with the raises and calls, but it gets checked over to me. 3 checkers, which leads me to believe no one has an ace. So I throw a queen in there. Or I throw a bet in there with my queen, which was wrong. Although, like, if you take a look, if you check, your EV is 1.09. If you make a bet, your EV is 1.04. So, you know, pretty close. But I'm still saying that I should have checked, not bet. Doggy Wolf calls, and the other 2 fold. That's exactly what I was trying to do, is just narrow the field, get the drawers out. You know, if you got a 2 spades, trying to knock you out, or if you have a 5 or something. I was trying to narrow the field, which worked, and I still had 1 customer, which I wanted. 5 comes up, so now I've got 2 pair. So I've got some full house potential. I can get a jack in there for another 2 pair. I was quite happy with the turn. Doggy Wolf checks again, which led me to believe that they were on some kind of draw. I bet, which is wrong. Probably because there's an ace out there. So PokerSnowie is assuming the Doggy Wolf in the small blind has the ace, which I didn't think they had. So this was more of a read. And they called. And then the 10, which is the worst card. Like 10 of spades is the worst card that could have shown up, because the 10 completes the straight and it completes the flush. So whatever draw they were going after. Yeah, and then a massive oversized bet to push me all in. So either they were just trying to push me all in hopes I would just give up and call, or they were bluffing, knowing that I couldn't call with anything but a straight or a flush. But I folded, which was the correct move. The call would have been disastrous. So I made the right move there. All right, so even though PokerSnowie is saying that I played at an extraterrestrial level, I only made 3 massive mistakes. Massive mistakes are EVs that have more than a negative 0.25 number to them. So anything less than that, they don't consider a blunder. They just consider an error. So I still played really good, but some river cards that didn't go my way. And just in general, really no premium hands. A couple ace kings. And that's really it. Out of the 152 hands, nothing I could have really done much better. So I'm happy that PokerSnowie is saying I played well. I got some good reads in. And maybe next time I get a little more lucky and finish in the cash. So anyways, if you're still watching, thanks very much. You know, if you like the video, please hit like. It helps the rating in my videos and more people will see it. And yeah, if you want to please subscribe, I'd appreciate that too. It'd go a long way and help out my channel. So thanks again. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And until the next hand review, have a good afternoon. Bye.